Okay, we're live. Okay, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. I begin in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Alhamdulillah, we're going to get started. We're going to give 1 or 2 minutes just for our community to join us. It's a pleasure to have with us today Sister Yelena Naeem from Al-Falah Academy, the principal of Al-Falah Academy, and Sister Vernie Cooper, also a teacher and educator in DeKalb County, and also as a staff in Al-Falah Academy. So it's a pleasure to have both of you. I'm going to come to you shortly. We're just going to give a few minutes to our audience, to our community to come and join us. As you join us, we, as always, ask you to let us know where you're joining from. This kind of encourages everybody. Please engage in the YouTube chat. Alhamdulillah, so far in every webisode or every webinar, we have been able to take questions live, and our speakers and presenters have been able to address many questions, if not all, by the grace of Allah. So again, feel free. You're welcome to engage and say salam, chat, and let us know if you have any questions, concerns that we can address, inshallah. So again, today's webisode, I would say, is very, very special. We try our level best to tailor each webisode to meet the needs of our community. As you know, the entire programming is actually based off of a survey that was conducted about 3-4 weeks ago. And based on the results that we collected from the survey, we brought in local speakers, local experts, local professionals who have decades and decades of experience to address the specific needs of you and your family and our community in general. So again, we have 2 amazing speakers with us tonight. May Allah bless them, their families, and all of you for joining us this evening. So again, as you're coming in, let us know where you're coming in, where you're joining, and I know that there is a severe weather warning that's out there for North Georgia, and it can be affecting many other states, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Allah knows what it holds for us. So there is a famous dua that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, used to say, and I'll say it twice, and please feel free to join in. Inshallah. So this is a dua for protection from severe wind, severe storms, severe weather, tornado, hurricane, anything else. So the Prophet would say, Allahumma inni as'aluka khayraha wa khayra ma fiha wa khayra ma ursilt bihi wa a'udhu bika min sharriha wa sharri ma fiha wa sharri ma ursilat bihi. That, oh Allah, I seek with you for the goodness that it carries, the good within it, and I seek the good that it has been sent forth with. And oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from the evil and the danger that it carries, and the danger and evil that it has within it, and from the evil or danger that it has been sent with. Another dua that the Prophet would say, Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna. Allah, let it be around us, and let it be a beneficial rain around us and not on us, and do not send it upon us as a punishment. So with that, we ask Allah to accept our dua, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you, your family, all of us safe, our families, our property, everything else safe by His grace and His mercy. So again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm going to start off with Sister Yelena, the principal of Al-Falah Academy. Sister Yelena, if you can, I already said you're the principal, but and the community knows you very well, but if you can please introduce yourself. Sister Yelena.
And thank you so much, Brother Abdullah, and organizers at CARE for inviting me. I'm humbled to be here and thrilled to share whatever I can to help people. I'm Yelena Naeem, principal at Al-Falah Academy. It's a private, independent pre-K through 12th grade school located in Gwinnett County. We're excited about our new facility, our new campus, which is coming, inshallah, in this upcoming school year, the 2020-2021 school year. We hope we're out of all of this shelter in place so that we can enjoy our new facility next in the fall, inshallah. And that's a big inshallah for us. Thank you very much for inviting me back here. And I'm happy, I'll tell the audience out there, please ask your education questions. Both myself and my partner here, Sister Veronique, are inshallah trying hard to answer all your questions.
Thank you so much, Sister Yelena. Alhamdulillah. It's a blessing and it's a pleasure to have you with us again. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve you and keep you as a beacon of light and a source of encouragement and guidance for our entire community. And we are very excited about the new facility. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that a blessing and take it from strength to strength with you at the helm of Al-Falah Academy. And now I'm going to ask Sister Veronique Cooper, if you can please introduce yourself and tell us how you're doing.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Veronique Cooper. I am from Rockford, Illinois. I always like to say that. I've been in Georgia for quite some time. I graduated from Clayton State University with a degree in middle grades education with concentrations in math and reading. I am a mother of two, so I'm a parent and a teacher. And I'm currently in my 5th year at Al-Falah Academy as a middle grades math teacher. So alhamdulillah, the family is well, and we are adapting to this new situation, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing. May Allah keep you and your family safe and well. And 5 years, so may Allah subhanahu take you and another many years to come. So again, alhamdulillah, we're asking our brothers and sisters that are joining us, please let us know if you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns. Inshallah, we'll be more than happy to address, inshallah. So I'm going to start off, and we have a few pre-submitted questions, and I'm going to ask Sister Veronique, inshallah. One of the questions that we have is, with everything that's happening so far, parents and students, they're at home, and the sudden change has really overwhelmed many within our community. Myself, my family, my relatives, my loved ones, everyone that I'm talking to, the current situation has really overwhelmed them. So, people are now having to work from home, their children are at home, parents are home. When we talk about, expectations from teachers, what are some realistic, practical expectations that parents and students can have from teachers?
Okay, so very good question. So the first thing I would say is that during this time, it is a trial and error time. A lot of us weren't briefed on or didn't learn how to teach online. We were taught how to teach in front of the students. So this is completely new for a lot of us. And so some things might work and some might not. So we have to be very patient with the teachers in trying to figure this all out. Another thing is, I was thinking that, things aren't going to be how they are in school right now. So you can't expect for us to have every minute by minute schedule for your children. They're at home. This is a completely different environment. At school, they're used to structure. They have their classroom, they have their teachers. They know when they're at school that this is learning time. But usually at home is the place where I can watch TV, be on my cell phone. They're not in that mindset that home is where I'm going to have school. So just being patient with the teachers and students as well, being patient with them both. Students and parents should also expect reduced workloads, just because we shouldn't expect as teachers for you all to be teaching for us in a sense. So it should be reduced work. Also, teachers should be communicating with parents and students as much as possible, just because we don't know everyone's situations. We don't know if you're lacking certain things. So just communicating with the students and parents to make sure that you're good and you're not needing anything. I also would like to tell parents and students to also understand that your teachers are parents as well. So to have patience with us as we're trying to juggle being a teacher and mother at the same time, when usually I'm in my class and my children are in their class. But in this new environment, we're all in class together. So I'm trying to juggle, being a mom as well as facilitating my children learning at the same time. So just understanding that, we're wearing multiple hats at this time. And so being patient with us. And I would say, please, for speaking for all my teachers, just to try to communicate with us during school hours, because after this time, we're having to, get to our children, cook dinner and all these things. And after school, kind of reflect and refocus for the next day, because every day is different. Every day brings us some type of challenge. So just having that time to kind of work through these things and figure out how we're going to be better the next day, because we're learning every day as we're going through this. So the main thing is, communicate, expect for there to be some trial and errors, and just be patient with us, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. And the idea of being patient, because we're learning as we go. This is a trial and period of trial and error. The idea of reaching out, not being afraid to reach out. Communicate with the teachers. Communicate, reach out, and let them know if you have any concerns, if you have any worries. And the other thing that I took away was that understanding that the teachers that we're dealing with, they're also parents. They also are, worried about their own individual health, personal care, self-care, their own children. And then they're also dealing with the same thing that we're dealing with. We're not in this alone, and they have their own struggle. And the idea of that, take it as you go, maybe lower some expectations. You're going to get less workload. Everything's going to be a bit less. And again, the idea of we're learning as we go. So thank you so much, Sister Veronique, alhamdulillah. The other question, Sister Yelena, what can parents expect from schools? I mean, you are an administrator of a school. With everything that's happening, I mean, you must have your work cut out. So beyond, we're learning as we go, to be patient, to not be afraid to reach out. What can parents expect from schools, from administration?
That's a great question, because in many cases, this is new territory and we don't know what to expect. What is the school going to be able to do, and what is possible? And am I losing out on something? That I'm sure parents are wondering. Is my child losing out on something? And those are very important questions. What can parents expect from schools? First, it's very important to understand that this temporary COVID crisis that is forcing us unexpectedly, suddenly, to jump into distance learning does not equal a virtual school structure. It will not lead to a virtual school structure by the bricks and mortar schools that we are. The reason is this: the entire structure of a virtual online school is completely different. The finances are focused in a different area than the finances and the focus area of a bricks and mortar, of a physical structure school. Every school has invested, many dollars, millions of dollars in a building. Okay, you can look at that. In contrast, a school does not have a building. It has a very sophisticated, integrated, expensive software structure, linking the live or recorded lessons, linking the units, the readings, the videos, the assignments, the submission of the assignments, the grade book, the attendance. Those softwares that are used for a virtual school are at a completely different level and sophistication than what physical schools use. They have an integrated structure because they're all about being online. That video aspect that people see online, the high quality of that is something that is developed from the ground up. So in other words, if you're a brick and mortar school, you cannot just transform overnight or over 3 or 4 weeks into a virtual academy. You would have to stop financing the building and spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars not only on a sophisticated software product. One product that I know is being used in some of these virtual schools is Blackboard. Very, very expensive, comprehensive software that's used that integrates seamlessly all those things that I mentioned. You would have to invest in training for teachers up front, not some overnight online, webinar, Zoom 1 hour meeting to train teachers on how to use that software, but it's like taking an education how to teach course all over again. A school would have to spend on the staffing of a highly qualified IT department that focuses on software as well as hardware. An IT department that can take a teacher with an education degree, not necessarily a computer science or programming degree, and help that teacher translate lessons online into that sophisticated program. There would have to be orientation for students. Our dear students don't know how to Zoom. They don't know what to click. Where's their login? Where does the password go? How do I chat with my teacher? How do I raise my hand? They have those little hands. How do I activate the nonverbal signals? Students would have to have the training. There are timings that our state guidelines require for a full-time school, a full-time building, as well as a full-time virtual school. And we are unable to follow those guidelines. And the state has actually confessed or admitted that, realized that, and they have relaxed the timings because of these abnormal shelter in place about them. If why can't the teacher just teach? You're teaching math in school, teach it online. It's because we have abnormal work conditions. Sister Veronique mentioned she has her 2 young children in the house with her while she's working full time for the school. The families are there. They're in the living room. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. You just have your own house. We don't have studios in our homes. And then the most important feature to realize, or factor to realize in the abbreviated timings, the relaxation that the State Department of Education has given schools in this period, they realize that part of the abnormal work conditions is that we're in a pandemic. And there are actually teachers, students' parents, students' siblings, other relatives, grandparents in the home who may have this illness. It's a pandemic. And so when there's illness in the home, a'udhu billah, may Allah preserve all of our families, and whoever is ill, give a speedy recovery. But if there's illness at home, you're dealing with your first level of survival, and that is safety. The parents shouldn't be worried about submitting an assignment. They should make sure that the child is treated from whoever is ill, or that the child, if ill, is getting all of the treatment and not worry about their grades. And the entire atmosphere of the home changes because there's illness in the home, and the focus must, of course, turn towards that. So those are the factors that are involved. That's why a school can't just transform into an online academy.
That's a lot, honestly. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, that the idea of, that we are in a pandemic, and that's everyone, the teachers, the instructors, the administrators, and the students. And from the state to everyone else, there is a relaxation in the expectations. And I think that's so important to understand. I think, when we kind of get into the, zone of, my children have to be in school, because look, we're tired of maybe having our children around all the time because we're working from home. And I think definitely our children are tired of us. Okay. So, it's both ways, and the frustration can build. But again, keep in mind that to have the same expectations from this as a brick and mortar school that's been specifically designed. I mean, we went into this without any prior warning, without any prior expectation, any prior training. And I think both of you very well pronounced that, look, it's not something that we expected. We were not even trained for this. So one thing I think, alhamdulillah, to have such grace within our instructors and our schools and the system that we have, alhamdulillah, we are very thankful to the amount of work and the amount of transition that we were able to make without having training. And I think that really speaks great for our administrators, our schools, our staff, within the Muslim schools and within the general public school system. So definitely, you guys definitely are the front line, the front line. May Allah protect you and preserve you, inshallah, and your families as we go through this. And we're going to come out of it, and alhamdulillah, we'll be stronger as a community, stronger as teachers, stronger as administrators, inshallah. So I want to shift to another angle that, from where we spoke about administration and we spoke about, what expectations parents and students can have from teachers. Well, what about access to technology? And Sister Veronique, you have students that may not have access to technology. We have a situation where, we have families that depend on the nutrition program. So, what do we have right now, and how can we deal with that when it comes to access to technology and access to nutrition?
So alhamdulillah, Georgia has done a great job with providing these technology accesses in nutrition programs. Some schools, the children don't have Chromebooks and, the computers and all that. So some teachers may have just given worksheets and things of that sort because they have different circumstances. So just for example, my nephew, his school, everybody third grade and up, they received Chromebooks because they were able to do that in that state. So here, what they're doing in Georgia and also everywhere, maybe not everywhere, sorry, but around Georgia, what I found was that there are many programs for technology where they get free internet or low cost internet. So for example, Comcast, Xfinity, they're giving free 2 months for new customers. Charter Spectrum, they're giving 2 months free. Sprint has a program for high schoolers where they actually get a device, and with that device, they get internet connection. AT&T, many different companies have these options. So inshallah, after the program, we'll have a list of those resources for everyone if you needed to get those technology programs for your children. Also, with the nutrition, Georgia, there's a lot of students who are on the lunch programs where they get free or reduced lunch. So I looked around and even used it myself. The Metro Atlanta school districts are giving out breakfast and lunch options depending on what county you're in. So we're in DeKalb County. So alhamdulillah, we're able Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to just walk to the local school that's near us from 10 to 2 and just pick up a lunch for the children. Most of the companies have different, most of the counties have different stipulations. Most of them, you have to be between 0 and 18, and the child has to be with you for you to go pick up lunch. So you can't just go there and say, I have 5 kids and they're gonna give you something. You have to actually physically bring the children. There's also counties that are offering food for children who are up to 21 if they have a disability. So that's very, very important that they're also serviced. And so we have compiled those websites with the different Metro Atlanta counties, depending on what county you stay in, so that you can click on a link and just go to their district. And it tells you exactly what day and what time and the locations of the meals. And also even in Gwinnett County, the buses are going around to the bus stops and passing out food so that the parents don't have to go so far. So alhamdulillah, they're really working and making sure that the students are taken care of during this time.
Alhamdulillah. So it sounds like there are a lot of resources out there with, from internet service providers that are providing free service for new customers. So definitely, I think that's something that we can look into for families that we need to if we haven't. So please look into that. There may be service providers that are providing free services in your area. And with regards to nutrition, check in with your county. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to share some of the links on the YouTube chat, and then we're going to try to share it and post it officially in the YouTube video description. So that way, anybody who's watching the video, inshallah, by the grace of Allah, it'll be available there. So thank you so much for that. Another, I think, unique thing is that many masajid in our community are partaking in helping their local counties and providing lunches, and I think that's amazing. There are many organizations that are also doing. ICNA Relief, I believe, has been doing an amazing job, and other organizations as well. Musa, the Muslims of the United States of America, they're also doing an amazing job. So there's a lot of efforts happening, and I think if our community, if you have the ability to be part of the assistance, do so. If you have any ideas, any thoughts that can be helpful to our community, share by the grace of Allah. So moving on, Sister Yelena, I want to turn to you. And when it comes to like when we talk about equity, because now the children are at home, they don't have the same access to everything that they had, the teachers, whether it's special education or intervention, intervention with regards to education or anything else. How are you dealing with that as an administrator? And what are some ideas and what have you seen with regards to equity for students?
Equity is one of the major areas of conversation amongst school leaders and districts. We are very concerned, educators are very concerned that equity is compromised in a situation like this, where the haves already have their devices at home and their internet, as Sister Veronique mentioned. Some people have it all at home, and the kids know how to use those devices, and some might not have them, and they might have to strive to get that. They might not be familiar with the device. It might be a new device for them. And so that's something that really worries educators. Specifically, students who have 504 plans, those are temporary disability plans to help to support students either academically or behaviorally. Students who have IEPs, those are individualized education programs for students who have disabilities and need modifications as well as accommodations. We have our ESOL students, our English as a second language students, who usually have some sort of support in a school with some sort of either pull-out or push-in model. We have intervention students who have skill gaps, regular education students, but who need a little bit of extra time with the teachers. Those are areas that it's not just the time, it's not just maybe the lessons and the accommodated lessons or the modified lessons. It's actually the providers, the specialist providers. The tutors are not with the students in their homes. You can do tutoring with students on Zoom or on Meet or Hangouts or something like that, but how can you get the physical therapist, the occupational therapist, the speech therapist to really make a difference in that child's life over a video broadcast? How do you get the therapy, the special education teachers that are dealing with physical, more severe, moderate or severe physical, cognitive, and social emotional disabilities? It's always more effective face-to-face. And so in some cases, depending on how mild or moderate or severe the case is, depending on the resources of that district, of that school, teachers are somehow able to meet the needs, at least halfway. In some cases, students are left without their very important support team. There's a team working with a student who has these accommodations or modifications. At our school, we first spent so much time just trying to get the schedule and everything rolling out over these past 3 weeks. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to get a schedule. We've been able to get the teachers to do their live sessions, and we've mentored many teachers to help them out with the technology. And now we're turning towards students who need some special attention, and we're going to be rolling out the time schedule to offer that special attention time, small group tutorials. I'm seeing that our neighborhood schools, whether it's public or private, are doing the same thing. It took about 2 weeks to kind of figure it all out and get everybody on board and see what the first and second and third priorities were. And now people are rolling out their more specialized schedules and offerings. So equity is a big deal when a student is not playing on that same level playing field. The gaps that they have can be very much exacerbated by 2.5 months of this distance learning that was completely unexpected. And we hope that, inshallah, all of the school administrators can come up with the ideas for their school community to work out what happens once we can get out of this shelter in place, the social distancing, once we can start meeting up. Do we offer summer programs? Will we offer, will fall start earlier? Will we offer a longer school day, or will we offer some extra time before or after school for filling in these gaps, extending the school day a little bit? We have to see what's coming up in the future and how long this lasts.
Jazakumullah, Jazakumullah. I mean, the idea of, what you mentioned at the beginning, the idea of equity being a very important field in education, because one of the things that you both kind of echoed is, those who have it, and those who don't, this situation only makes it harder and more difficult for them. And I think for speaking, from CARE, Georgia, this is the pandemic kind of shows us why it's so important for our community to be engaged when it comes to our schools, school district, when it comes to our local government, when it comes to our state government, why it's very, very important for us to be engaged. And I think right now, all of us, we have an amazing opportunity to engage. The census is there. The census will determine and impact our, representatives that represent us. It'll impact the federal funding, over $600 billion worth of funding that impacts our schools, our libraries, our roads, our first responders, what the equipment and the access that they have. So the census is a great way for our community, our families, to engage and make an impact in not only our own life, but also in our community life, our children's life, and the future. Because as you know, the census is done every decade. So 2020, the next time this is going to happen by the grace of Allah would be in 2030, when many of our children that are in elementary will be in high school, middle school will be even in college, and definitely our high school students may even be young professionals. So again, before moving on to the next question, I do want to encourage our community that please, if you have not yet filled out the census, go ahead and fill out the census. It does not ask questions about your citizenship. It's just a head count of the residents within the country. So you can do it. There are no specific questions that are pervasive questions that that should be difficult to answer. So again, engage. This is an opportunity for us to engage so that we are at a better footing when it comes to dealing with this situation. And may Allah increase all of our schools, our administrators and teachers, because as they said, look, it just took 2-3 weeks just to get a hang of it, and now they're turning their attention to deal with the finer and the more specific issues that we have. And moving on from that, Sister Veronique, with everything that's happening, I mean, our students, they get sometimes, overwhelmed with everything happening. What are some suggestions that you've seen that are beneficial, you've utilized with your family and your 2 young ones when it comes to student mental health? I mean, what are some suggestions for students with regards to their mental health and mental well-being?
So before I jump on that question, I just wanted to add a little bit to the questions about IEPs. I'm a board member for MACE, which is Muslim Advocates of Children with Exceptionalities. And I just want to kind of get people to, if you do have an exceptional child and you need those resources, MACE is giving different techniques, different programs. You can talk to people who are specializing in different exceptionalities, because you might be at home and you're not understanding or having to deal with your student and not knowing what to do and feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So to reach out to the people who are with MACE, they're particularly for you because they are parents of children who have exceptionalities. They have resources upon resources. So inshallah, if you're able to do that, reach out for them. They're catering to the Muslim community. So inshallah, if you're able to connect with them, inshallah. As far as the students' mental health, the first thing I thought about was how are our children going to remember this pandemic years from now? We could make this a good situation, or it can be a very traumatic memory for our children. So one thing I think we have to do as parents is kind of filter how much information we're giving to our children about COVID. My children, they're very young. So I kind of just give them very, very small pieces because I don't want them fearing, and not feeling like they can't go on with their everyday lives. Of course, we can't go on how we do or how we did before, but I don't want them to be fearful. So just kind of, you know, filtering some things, maybe not watching so many of those news broadcasts or not scrolling through so much of the news. Some of it is fake. And so we have to be able to, use our judgment on what we really want to consume during this time and how the adult reacts to these situations. The kids usually feed off of that energy. So we want to protect our own energy and our children's energy during this time. Also, you know, encouraging different things during this. We have a lot of time. So let's encourage our children with healthy eating. Parents, you're in charge of what you're buying at the grocery stores. So just using this time to, introduce healthy eating if you haven't already, and regular exercising, is spending time with our children, going outside, in the parameters or within our boundaries of the stay at home, going outside and getting fresh air. The children, this is a completely different situation. A lot of our children are not homeschooled, but now it's homeschool, so trying to, not make them under so much pressure, trying to do activities with the children that they enjoy. The kids are losing that social aspect because they're not at school. So allowing your children to communicate with their peers, you don't want them on the phone all the time, that thing, but they're missing that social aspect. And for the little children, an opportunity to get a pen pal, have them work on their writing and still communicating with their peers using a pen pal. So just lowering the intensity at home and just focusing on that help. Just ask yourself over and over, how is my child going to remember this pandemic? It's not 10 years from now, oh my gosh, that was the worst time of my life. It could be very traumatic. So let's lower the fear and replace that fear with hope, because as Muslims, we're very hopeful that inshallah, with hardship, there's ease. So inshallah, there's some lesson, there's some ease coming from this. And the first lesson that I was taught immediately was we plan and Allah plans. I was already planning my April, spring break trip, counting down, I'm going to take the kids to the beach and all these things, but that didn't happen. Allah plans, we plans, and this is the best plan. So just taking what's given to us and making the best out of it. We weren't able to go to the beach. However, we put a tent outside and we slept outside, just making the best out of this situation and making it a good memory for the children, not a, trauma, inshallah.
Jazakumullah, Sister Vernick. And I think the idea, the beautiful idea of the question that, how are our children going to remember this 10 years from now? And that's going to be very much dependent on how we as adults, how we define what's happening. So if we ourselves, if we're overwhelming ourselves with the negative, and look, the news is news. I mean, very rarely does, news tend to be positive. And especially right now with everything that's happening, if we expose them to the same, every single day, what's happening, the numbers are rising and all of this, it's going to be overwhelming. It is going to be traumatizing. So it's very important for us as adults, as caregivers, to understand, to protect them from the negativity. Yes, it's important to know what's happening so that you're safe, but not overwhelm them at the same time. So the idea of preserving, I love the idea of preserving, learning how to preserve our families, our young ones, our children. The idea of time, that we have a lot of time, so being able to utilize that time in unique ways. You weren't able to go to the beach, so you guys camped outside. Amazing thing. So, engage our children, engage our youth. I love the idea of, this is old school, the pen pal idea. Look, I've been out of school for over 15 years now. So just to hear the word pen pal, that's amazing. And that as Muslims, we're always hopeful because we plan and Allah plans, and His plan is dominant. And we know that Allah loves us and He has the best for us. The idea is to stay with Allah, keep our tawakkul and our reliance on Allah. And we're going to come out of this as families. Our schools are going to be open again. We're going to be doing well. We are going to get through this. With every hardship comes many ease. With a single hardship comes many, many ease. by the grace of Allah. So definitely, may Allah enable us. We have a few questions coming in. So I'm just going to share the question, and you are more than welcome to answer. So one question that came in is, how are you reaching out to students? This is unique. So how are you reaching out to students who have internet access but do not log on to do their work?
Okay, I can start. Oh, it's up to you.
No,
Okay.
go on, Dre.
So I've had that situation where since we started school, you know, a student might not log on or might not do any work. So we've actually been instructed to call the parents, you know, give them that phone call and check in, you know, what's going on, how can I help you? Just being that ear, because they might be going through something that we don't know about, and maybe they're not receiving information, or maybe, you know, it's just not clicking and they're not understanding. So just giving that phone call to, you know, make sure that you can help, or how can I help?
And if that's the first layer of intervention for such a problem, let's get the person who's closest to the student to find out what's going on. Our second level at our school at Al Falah Academy, if the teacher has tried to reach out with a phone call so that we could really, you know, connect with the person and see what's going on. Either if the result it's not satisfactory, or if there's no answer, then our teachers escalate them to the administration, and we try to work out at a team level. Have we heard something from one of their siblings? Do we know that something's going on? Maybe somebody is sick in the family. Maybe they've traveled to another state where they have relatives. Some people actually do that. They want to go and be close to their relatives who live somewhere else because everything is online anyways, but they might not have come on. There might be a motivation issue. There might be some mental health or social or emotional, you know, breakdown going on in the home. And we do try to be very discreet and try to find out what's going on. We have a school guidance counselor who's happy to intervene to have those private discussions with somebody who might be struggling. Maybe the child needs some motivation. They're just overwhelmed with the idea of submitting work online or whatever it is. And we get, you know, either the teachers or friendly face to just walk them through all of that and try to keep an eye on them and call in from time to time to check on them. So we do encourage our kids if they have not logged in yet.
The idea that we're a team, you know, the idea that's the proverb that it takes a village, it has never been more true as it is right now. And that, you know, the approach, the intervention method is multi-layered, that we are going to try. And it goes back to, again, I think the parents that are watching and everyone else, communication is going to be very crucial. The parents and teachers, administrators may not know the unique circumstances that they were in. I think, you know, all of us are in unique circumstances, but more so for some families than others. So it's going to be very important to communicate, you know, and communication is going to be very crucial as we move on. Another question that we have coming in that came in is, how can we maximize this as an opportunity for parents who have more time with their children? How can they, because de facto they're the educators at home, and I think that's one thing that this situation has highlighted, is that upbringing is a parental duty. It's on parents. So how can parents use this as an opportunity to instill religious and Islamic teachings within their children?
Mashallah, that's a terrific question. And I think it's really important to, I think we start by establishing a schedule. And subhanAllah, in our deen, we have that schedule. We have our prayer times and at the age appropriate level for Fajr, for Dhuhr, for Asr. Let's use this time to pray together as a family. If we have the correct demographics group of people, let's have Jummah at home. If not, let's live stream khutbah and then pray Dhuhr together as a family. Inshallah, Ramadan is going to give us so many opportunities to wake up for suhoor. We're going to have the sleep time that we want because we can control our schedule. Nobody's commuting anywhere anymore. And so get that schedule with our deen slotted in first, put in the time slots first, and then academics right after that, get that schedule going. It's a very important time for families to come together. This is really, if you have good health, then this is a blessing in a sense, because you have your children with you, and you can role model the reliance that we have on Allah, our tawakkul, our faith that Allah will get us through and will reward us for our patience.
Sister Yelena, I was going to say also, the schedules is very important. I feel like, with your children at home, we have so many teachable moments. I have so many moments where I can just really small things, no, son, this is what we should do. Or even on Fridays, my children were, it's Juma. Even though we're not going to the masjid, come make wudu with me and come make Juma Salat or Dhuhr with me. Just taking those small moments and making them teachable moments, from the smallest of things, of sitting down and as they're eating, they want to run around the house. They're so active, they're so busy. Let me just teach you that small thing right now. Sit down while you're eating. So there's just so many moments where you can catch them, and you don't have to have sit down and have a 30-minute lecture, or, I don't think there's a right or wrong to it. We are the example, and we can just lead by example and then give them those little tidbits where we can, when we have those moments.
SubhanAllah, Jazakumullah, that's amazing. Leading by example, utilizing a schedule to bring some sort of rhythm and expectation, that's what really gets them going. The idea that, look, Ramadan is around the corner, so we have about a week or so to prepare, and inshallah, that'll give us a better opportunity to enjoy and get the most out of Ramadan. And the idea of teachable moments, and I think that's what our entire faith is about, is to be in the present. You can think about and be concerned about your future, but don't let the worry overwhelm you. Leave that to Allah, and let your children and let our family see that we are going to utilize the moments that we have right now, whether it's, hey, just let's make wudu together, let's correct our Fatiha, or let's have a competition who can send the most salutations on the Prophet, or prepare for Ramadan. I think that idea that leading by example. So as parents, we are going to have to take a lead. We are going to have to enact the change that we want to see within our children. Jazakumullah. Thank you so much. Moving on to another question that we have with regards to SEL, social emotional learning, Sister Yelena. With regards to social emotional learning, what are some supports, for students? What are some things that are available for students right now, because they don't have that person-to-person, that opportunity to interact person-to-person with their peers, with their teachers, or that school environment. So what about social emotional learning?
Good question. Social emotional learning, also known as SEL, just to define it for everybody so that people understand, it supports student behavior, character, interpersonal interactions. It's social emotional learning lessons that address bullying, address the development of positive character traits like kindness or respect. It addresses pro-social behavior like conflict resolution. And alhamdulillah, in a faith-based school like an Islamic, like a Muslim school, it addresses spiritual awareness, one's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, character and religious role models. We all strive to develop our character, the character of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so we feel that there's a learning curve for teachers and administrators, and how can we really convey social emotional learning in this new distance learning format. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities, because what I'm seeing in our school, in our situation, is that teachers are interacting with kids in their live sessions on a friendlier basis, on a more personal basis, with more humor and more just natural personality than maybe even in the classroom. We're all in the same boat together, and everybody's realizing it. We see the kids coming on, they're looking a little sleepy, and we can, talk to them about that. Did you have breakfast? Did you get enough sleep? Did you brush your teeth? Are you ready for class? We try to use humor. We build our compassion and caring for students in our own understanding. If you can't turn something in, by whatever deadline we've set, we've been trying to, extend our compassion and saying, just get it in because you're important to me. Your knowledge is important to me. I care about you. I want you to learn this, and ask me questions and turn it in tomorrow, try again and turn it in tomorrow. I'm seeing so many opportunities for teachers to do that. We've set aside a day, Fridays, for small group interactions. So teachers it's their pick which students can come into a small group Zoom session for some extra explanations. Students can, raise their hand, say, hey, get me in there because I need to hear this again. I need to see some more examples. So that social emotional learning is being modeled by our teachers. You're right when you say that there's not as many interactions. We can't really extend our hand. The downside of it is when we're teaching about kindness, we're teaching about respect, none of the teachers can guarantee that lesson is extending to the student and his or her sibling. We don't know if they get off of Zoom and they start beating up their little brother, their little sister, or snatching a toy out of their hand, or, whatever. We can't guarantee that. That's now we have to turn over the baton to the parent and hope that if the parent heard a smidgen of what we were talking about, they can echo our words that we had in class in our little Zoom session and try to get that same behavior going on off hours in the home.
Jazakumullah. Thank you so much. May Allah really bless you and all of the teachers out there for enacting the social emotional learning, modeling that themselves, and the idea of that they're more personable in their approach. There's more love and care than even in person, and that's amazing. And I can tell you this, I know my nephew and niece, one of the things that's really helping them get through all of this, these young ones, is their teacher. I mean, their parents are there, but they really rely on their teacher. And so again, the idea that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, "Inni bu'ithtu mu'alliman," that verily Allah had sent me as a teacher. So, you both and all of your colleagues and everyone else in our state and throughout the country, throughout the world, really, teachers are leading families and our young right now, because millions and millions of students are depending on their teachers for guidance and for upliftment. So may Allah bless both of you and your colleagues and everyone, all of our teachers and professors and educators in general. I count you amongst our first responders, right? Building and modeling our future generation. Jazakumullah. So next question, Sister Veronique. Children, as the day goes, they may have a sudden question about their work, or they may need material, or they need some extra tutorials or something. What if they need that? What are some suggestions? What can they do?
Okay, sorry, I have to start with what Sister Yana said. So I had a funny story. Okay, so my students on Friday, I have certain students coming at a certain time, 10 o'clock, let's say, and I named the students. And so a student who was not supposed to come to the class comes and she's like, "Sister, am I supposed to be here?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Oh, I could have stayed in the bed." You have these moments where the kids are they're so cute, and they keep you going even through this craziness. So alhamdulillah, for tutoring, what our class or our school is doing is, offering the Q&As on Friday, intervention as well. So we have students who are intervention, they have that one-on-one time on Fridays. For students who are not at our school, we have different tutor programs online. They have like tutor.com and different offerings at the library. So there's many resources for that. I would also say to communicate with your teachers, just to see if they have extra time to have that one-on-one session with that student. Many students are, emailing the teachers, and maybe the parents don't know, but a lot of students are communicating with their teachers when they're confused about something. Some students even go to the point of Google Hangouts, sending messages on Google Hangouts, "Good morning, I'm here," and just reaching out. They're reaching out to us more than parents might even know. I would say also maybe reaching out if they have older siblings. This is a time where older sibling can take on that role on helping their younger sibling. We also have community members around the community. Let's reach out to our community and find out who's that mathematician, who's that scientist. We have them, they're there. We just have to find them. Also, if you can't, find a person, we have so many online access points. We have YouTube. YouTube, you can go on and you can find out how to change a tire. YouTube has everything that you need. So many how-to resources, as well as I know for math, a lot of people go to Khan Academy for a resource. So there's plenty of resources out there. If we can share them with you later, we can do that. But just searching for, starting with in your home and then your community, your neighbors, maybe a phone call, staying in the stay-at-home restrictions, but, finding someone or some online subscription to help us with those tutoring questions.
Jazakumullah. Thank you so much. Sister Yelena, one question that many of our students have, maybe high school students and others may have, with regards to their testing, SAT or ACT, or maybe our seniors are concerned about their graduation. So what are some thoughts and that you have to share with our community with regards to testing, and maybe or even if I can throw in there AP testing and dual courses?
Okay. Yes, our high school students are concerned about that. In our school, there are many dual enrollment students. And of course, the seniors and juniors are thinking about college and preparing their SAT or ACT exams. And we've got advanced placement classes where those students are concerned about the May testing that normally takes place. Fortunately, in those organizations, there's been a flurry of updates and adjustments because of COVID and the burdens that have been placed on students with everything suddenly, changing so drastically. I'll start with advanced placement testing. So students who have advanced placement courses normally take a big final exam that would qualify them for college credit. It's a very important exam. The AP exams take place in May. And what the College Board has done, the advanced placement classes have done nationally, is to change the format of the test drastically. Those used to be live tests that took 3 to 4 hours. They were very grueling tests. I know because I proctored some of them last year, and they seemed endless. And now they have been abbreviated to only a 45-minute period, and they're offered online. So the student can take the AP test from their home at a certain time slot. And so the teachers, our AP teachers, have already been contacted by the AP organizations to offer them the format of the test so that they could use this remaining time in April and May to train the students on what the test format is going to look like, and do some practice tests in that format. So AP has been abbreviated. AP is continuing, but in that abbreviated form for our situation. SAT and ACT tests, on the other hand, the upcoming ones have just been canceled because they cannot provide that live setting that will satisfy social distancing and safety requirements. So the May tests have been canceled. Last I looked, I checked a week ago. I haven't checked this week, but last I looked at, they were still thinking about the June testing. And then there's the July, there's that July option. So inshallah, we'll see if we move forward with that. However, for seniors, they really need those test results to show the admissions officers of their selected colleges, or juniors in the case of their early enrollments or whatever. And many colleges have declared that this year they're going to waive the SAT or SACT requirement to make it easy on people, to lower that anxiety that people have that they don't have all their tests in. So that's great. That's something that helps students. dual enrollment. They are, and that means high school students who are participating in the dual enrollment program. Those are a selected number of courses where they gain college credit. And they may study in their own school or at a university. And some schools offer dual enrollment courses inside the high school building. And in many cases, the students go to a college like Georgia Gwinnett College or Georgia State University or any Kennesaw State, whatever, and take courses there with the college students. What I understand is that our Georgia colleges, public and private, are going on with classes. Everything has transferred to online, and those students have either synchronous, meaning live, same time classes, or asynchronous classes, meaning they're recorded and they can view the recording on their own schedule. So those classes are continuing, and typically most colleges finish up at the end of April, early May for the spring semester. And then we're going to see what happens in summer and fall. Finally, a very important point, something that's top of the mind for our seniors is graduation. We want a memorable graduation to celebrate the 4 years that they spent at our school and high school, and possibly even more years in our middle or elementary school. We want to have a fabulous celebration for this great achievement and this milestone and this sort of passage ceremony to their next phase of life, their adult life as college students. And we are, in our school, we have a graduation committee. We're planning a meeting to get together. We already had the whole graduation planned out with venue and food and decorations and everything, and all that is canceled now. And we're going to try to figure out what we can do, how much of it we can retain. Maybe we can retain the cap and gown. I don't know what we're going to do, mail them out or something, and see what we can do to provide some sort of a digital celebration of our graduates, our 12th grade graduates. And that applies to our 8th grade graduates, 8th grade promotion ceremony, we call it, and even to our 5th graders. We promised them a movie ceremony to celebrate that milestone and transition from elementary school to middle school. And we had beautiful ones in the past, and we hope that we can keep those traditions alive. Our kindergartners often have cute celebrations at the end of their school year as well at the classroom level. So we're just kind of in a wait and see. We're having meetings and trying to pull on our creativity to see what we can do for those sessions.
So y'all know a lot of schools also, I was looking at different districts, they're just saying it's not canceled, but it's just postponed. So don't panic. We're just postponing it until we know further. And I also saw a video of Japan where they had robots and they had screens and they had the teacher there, and the robot goes over to the teacher while the child is on the screen, and the principal shakes the robot's hand and says, "Congratulations, you're promoted." But inshallah, in the future, near future, we'll have a real graduation.
That's awesome, Veronique. I love that idea. You're going to have to share that link with me, and let's share it with all our various promotion and graduation committees. We'll come up with something creative, I know, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, I think, thank you so much, for letting us know that it's not done. I mean, have expectations, stay positive, and, our administrators, our schools, the districts, they're not giving up. They're in this with us. They are planning, and, the graduation of our seniors and the overall education, whether it's their dual enrollment or AP or any endeavor that you've made to our young brothers and sisters, it's not going to loss or anything like that. I love that there has been some relaxation with regards to expectations, especially when it comes to colleges and others. So that's great to hear, alhamdulillah. So that's about it, alhamdulillah. We had a wonderful discussion. I'm very, very thankful to our audience, the brothers and sisters that joined us this evening. The brothers and sisters that joined us, please feel free to subscribe to our channel so that inshallah you get live updates. And also look forward to next weekend. Inshallah, we have exciting programming next weekend, which we'll be launching in a few days again. We'll let you know what that is, who the speakers are. But with regards to the panelists and speakers that we have right now, Sister Yellen and Sister Veronique, and we have other educators from across Atlanta that will be joining us. Again, we are hoping to have more of a breakout session where you can actually interact, the audience can actually interact with the teachers, with these experts, with the administrators one-on-one, so that you can take away lessons, tips, and things like that, inshallah. So we have future events that we're planning. We are going to come out of this, but the unfortunate thing is we don't know how long this is going to last. So we want to plan, we want to be together, we want our experts to advise us, we want them to lead us and guide us through this. So I'm going to turn to our panelists. Any closing remarks, anything that you want to share with the community that I may have forgotten, anything that you want to share with us before we go?
I would just say, just stay safe, stay sane, and stay healthy, inshallah. Use this time wisely. We've planned so much, and now we have a time where we can kind of just relax and read a book and just enjoy our children, enjoy ourselves, and gain that connection with Allah. I think we have so much time to just kind of sit back and reflect on the person we want to be and where we're going towards as we're heading towards Ramadan, inshallah. So just getting into that focus and just hope instead of fear, inshallah. Just get the fear out of our minds and just be hopeful, inshallah.
That's right. I echo what Veronique said. That's so positive. I think that we should always, whatever our circumstances are, show gratitude and be grateful. Let's have our children call our relatives in faraway places and ask how they are. Let's build that family time and take advantage of that. I think this is one of the great things to be grateful for, to have this extra family time and opportunities to interact with people that we might not have had time to call and talk to in the past. I just want to say I'm so grateful that Imam Abdullah, that you're offering a forum for our community to have a chance to ask questions, to listen to other people's points of view, and I'm grateful to all of our parents and the hard work that they're doing, the double job that they're doing. Many of them are working full time, as well as helping the kids get through their lessons. I'm grateful to our teachers who are both parents and teachers in many cases, like Veronique and many others. Everybody is really pulling together and trying to come up with creative solutions to problems. So Jazakumullah khairan to our community for all of your support. And stay tuned, because we're all waiting for the news, what's going to happen in the summer, what's going to happen in the fall. There are some creative ideas for, option A, option B, situation A or B, and plan A, plan B, whatever. And stay tuned for all of that. But until then, just stay grateful, and Jazakumullah khairan for all your support.
Jazakumullah. Thank you so much. I love the idea that both of you shared, stay safe, stay sane, and if I may add, stay spiritual. And that is that don't let fear overwhelm you or your family. So again, thank you so much, Sister Veronique, for joining us. Thank you so much, Sister Yelena, for coming back and joining us. It's a blessing to have both of you. And we look forward to having you back on the program on the Co-Victory Initiative. And that's what we named this whole initiative. It's Co-Victory, because victory is with Allah. We are believers. Our faith always relies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what we face. So again, I just want to remind everyone that we started off talking about, making giving a reminder about the weather. Be mindful that the weather is expected to get, heavy rainfall, wind, and storm. So again, keep dua. Anytime the Prophet ﷺ was worried about a matter, he would pray 2 rak'ah. So if you can, again, teachable moments. Use this as an opportunity to engage the whole family. Jump in lay out the musalla, the prayer rug, and jump in, pray a few rak'ah, make dua together. One of the things that I suggest with parents and even spouses, that hold your spouse's hand and make dua, and hold your children's hand and make dua. Get connected. Let's get connected to Allah. So, the weather is expected to get worse. So make the dua, oh Allah, let this be beneficial. Let the rain and the downpour be around us and not upon us. Make it a means of mercy and not of punishment. So with that, brothers and sisters, again, have a wonderful night. I hope the weekend has been a source of restoration and rejuvenation for all of us. And tomorrow, we're back to work at home. We're not going anywhere, so that's there. So again, thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. Have a wonderful night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum